Welcome to another episode of Sleep Paralysis News. I'm here with my co-host Cyrus, and today the episode is slightly different. We don't have a guest with us. What we do have is a written description of an experience that was had by Rachel. And Rachel has given us permission to share it with you on today's show. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to read it through so that we can all be on the same page. And then we'll have a conversation about the experiences that Rachel discusses. So she starts by saying, I'm a 46-year-old mom of 3 grown girls. I grew up in a working class family in Melbourne, Australia. I have 1 older brother and a younger sister. My childhood was mainly good, but I rebelled against everything as a teenager and lived out of home from the age 14. My first episode of sleep paralysis would have been when I was nearly 16. I was asleep on the couch in the house I was living in, and I wasn't taking any drugs or alcohol. I felt like I had woken up and opened my eyes. There was a dark shadow person coming towards me, and I knew I had to move. I could not move, awake but unable to move. I couldn't breathe, and I knew if I didn't wake up, I would die. In my head, I was screaming at myself to get up. Every muscle in my body felt like it was weighed down by tons of sand. Finally, I managed to sit up. The shadow person was gone, but I was terrified. I had just nearly died. I tried not to go to sleep for weeks after that incident. As time passed, I dismissed it as a bad nightmare until it happened again and again. What happens to me is that I don't dream of something happening to me somewhere else. It's always where I am. Often the faceless shadow will come through a window of my room. It's like I feel it before I see it. I feel the weight on my body and the realization in my dream that I am held down by sleep whilst I'm awake. These days I can manage to scream out for help. My husband knows if he hears me making the most ungodly sound while sleeping, that he needs to physically pull me up into a sitting position. Even though I cannot move and my eyes are closed, I can hear if my husband has walked into the bedroom. And in my head, I'm screaming for him to help me. He says I sound like a banshee. What I've noticed as I've gotten older is that it's now harder for me to wake fully after an episode. I need to physically force myself to stand up and walk around. If I don't walk around for at least 20 minutes, I'll be dragged straight back into the paralysis. If I sit still, I cannot stay awake. My eyes sometimes will literally roll back into my head. My poor husband. He thought I was possessed when we first met. He's learnt to live with it and helps where he can. Sometimes I can go a few months without any episodes, but that's rare. At the moment, I would average 2 to 3 times a week. I have tried many things to see if anything could help, as I was not getting too much sleep. Was it that I'm not sleeping enough? Am I sleeping too much? Could my diet be a factor? Could drinking alcohol be a factor? What about the electronics in my room? Meditation, crystals, breathing exercises? Could smoking a joint lessen it or increase it? There seems to be nothing I have found as yet to either explain it or cure it. I was prescribed sleeping tablets. They didn't help. I live a comfortable life now. There's no abnormal stress or worries. I have a good job, great friends, and I'm generally very content as a rule. Now, the question I always ask myself is it neurological or paranormal? Possibly both. Perhaps there's a part of my brain that is wired a tiny bit differently, so I can be mentally awake and physically asleep. I'm in the in-between. Perhaps I'm not welcome there, and the shadow men come to scare me away. Maybe they want to keep me there, and that's why they drag me back down with all of their force. I know in some cultures they believe it's demons coming to kill you. I have no idea what to believe, only that it's not a nightmare, for nightmares change. This is always pretty much the same. And that's it in terms of Rebecca's experience. Is there any initial comments from that, Cyrus?
Well, that was well written, and you read that very well. My goodness, you guys are some good storytellers. Uh, I
Thank you.
think the first thing that came to mind for me was, okay, she's being operated based on fear. They got her because she fears it. And once they got you fearing this, then the episodes are uh more intense, they more frequent, so she's got to find a way to battle it. And all those factors that she said, could it be alcohol? Could marijuana help? Is it your TV? All those factors probably play a role. You don't know what percentage and how much of effect, but all of those factors, sleep hygiene, all that is interplaying in all this. But I think the biggest one is fear. They've got you afraid of sleep paralysis, and now they got you where they want you, and so you're going to be paralyzed again, kind of like a deer in the headlights. You know what happens when it's full of fear? It's paralyzed, right? And so hey, fear can paralyze you is the lesson learned. So that's where that immediate advice I would give to her. She's got to find a way to be like, if this happens again, I'm ready for it. And this is what I'm going to do. So put together your reaction plan. When you see this little shadow man again, you're going to be ready for him instead of being like, oh no, this is happening again. And then you're giving them power. You have to be prepared for them. So that's the first thing that came to mind for me. What about you?
Okay. So you're saying like that while she's awake, she's got to kind of consciously kind of script it, kind of man up, know how she's going to deal with it so that she takes that energy into her sleep state and can confront the experience.
Exactly. We've got some other episodes talking about this same thing as well, and how people who aren't afraid of it, they now become in control of how quickly they get out of sleep paralysis, or turning it into astral projection because they want to ride it out. But yeah, if you feel like you are not in control and you're being operated based off of fear, then you have no control, and he's going to come visit you again because he's going to thrive off of your fear of him, whoever that shadow man is. But we can go deeper into it than that. But I think for now, that is just like the surface level explanation that comes to me, that she's got to overcome her fear of this experience. And like you said, have the preparation going into it. You almost have to assign your subconscious mind because it's such a terrifying thing that is very hard to get control of your thoughts in that moment. So you really got to have that self-talk programmed in you before you go to sleep, so that when the moment comes, you'll be ready. Like I said, like, I knew this was going to happen and this is what I'm going to do about it.
I know as you say that, for me, I know that I got angry with them. I think I was just so tired. And it was like, whilst I was awake, I said, I can't do this anymore. You wait till I see you again. I'm going to really let loose. So I went to sleep with that frame of mind where I was so tired, and I said, it's do or die. You come tonight and I'm going to take you on. I was so mad with them, you know?
Yeah, you stand there, you sound like someone's tired of being bullied, and you finally came to school one day like, this is it, and you're waiting for them. Yeah, you changed the game, the perspective. But I appreciate her sending in that letter. If anybody else wants to send their story or be on the show, showing your face. We are here on episode 10 right now. So anybody who wants to
Yes,
contact us,
Mimi, it's
look at
gone.
the info under the YouTube
gone.
video, and that's where you send your information and your story. And thank you guys all for joining us for this episode 10. Please check out our other ones. Thank you, Sheila Pryce. Have a good one, everybody.